Making headlines, President Abdullah Yamin Abdul Gayoom launches the National Strategic Plan to End Tuberculosis in Maldives. Deputy Permanent Representative to Maldives Mission in Geneva says the government should proceed with the current momentum to make sure that corruption is nullified in all areas of the nation. And Chief Executive Officer of Treetop Hospital reveals the world-class healthcare facility is all set to be inaugurated by the end of this month.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I'm Nasma Abdul Muhsin and this is PSM News. President Abdullah Yamin Abdul Gayoom launches the National Strategic Plan to End Tuberculosis in Maldives.
Tuberculosis is a disease caused by a bacteria called Mycobacterium tuberculosis. The bacteria usually attack the lungs, but they can also damage other parts of the body. Tuberculosis spreads through the air when a person with the bacteria coughs, sneezes or talks. In the past 3 years, Maldives has succeeded in eliminating communicable diseases. In the efforts to eliminate tuberculosis in Maldives, President Yamin today launched the National Strategic Plan to End Tuberculosis in Maldives at a ceremony held at Hotel Gen. Addressing the function, a resident representative of the World Health Organization to Maldives, Dr. Arvind Mathur, congratulated President Yamin for becoming the first head of state in the Southeast Asia region to launch a national strategic plan to end tuberculosis.
It's my great honor and pleasure to witness this momentous occasion, and on behalf of Regional Director Dr. Poonam Khetrapal Singh.
We now hand over to our live crew to bring you a press conference from Maldives Police Service.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Our Superintendent of Police, Ahmad Shifan, Fuluhunga Faratung, Baddu Kolli, Madama, Malaya, the Rajege, Kisarhadu Toga. එව්වමක බයක තයාරුවේ එකංකම කොරමුන්දා මසෙක්කෙත්තක ගුලිගෙන් අල්මෙන්නන් එක ෆරාෆරාතුන් දීෆා මාලුමාතක අදි අල්මෙන්ගේ පොලිස්ගේ ඉන්ටෙලිජන්ස් දීෆර මාලුමාතක රියායකෝ අලොනුමෙන් මිහිඳ දිවෙහෙ රයීතුන්න කොම්මෙහෙන් අංගාලෙන් ජෙහෙ අදි හිස්සා කොල්ලෙන් ජෙහෙ මාලුමාතකෙන් හුරුමු එකංකම් හිස්සා කොල්ලමුග බේනුමුග එකතු අල් ෆා කොල්ලන් 2004 ಫೆಬ್ರವರಿ 16 ඒ මාදමා राज्य की सरहद को मीहुं एव्वे हमनिजों हिंगा सदामती वार्ता देकोला तफात एक कंकन को गाँव में हलबल कोल्लुम एक कंकन रावा वाकं अल्में मीगे कुरिंग फेब्रुवरी 12 दो सिफान नायक को देवनो प्रेस स्टेटमेंट एक गल में हिस्सा को फवान एगो तो अल्में कुरिंग वे साम को फवा गोतक एफद मालूमात फुलहुन मिहार व सन्ननी बाय फरात तो वाहक फुलुन्ना हासकों हम अद्वैत तंतनों का वरंग हम ओपन को दक्का वाहतकों अदि मिस मीडिया के जरिए मादमा एफत कंतत के हिंगमुंदाने कमुग मालूमात और मिन्ना मिहार व सन्ननी लिबेमु अदि फुलहुन नवे से मालूमात फुलहुंगे पुलिस इंटेलिजेंस सब सन्ननी लिबेमु मेकाउन फाहकोलम और फाहकोलम बेनु दिव्य राज्य के कुल्ली नुरक्कलुग हालत युलान कोरे वेकन तंफीज कोरो मुंदा दंडिवलेग्गा ಎವ್ವೊಳುಮುಗೆ ಕಾನೂನು ನೋತ ಎವ್ವೊಳುಮುಗೆ ಕಾನೂನುಗೆ ತೆರೆಂ ಎವ್ವೊಳುಮುಗೆ ಮಿನಿಮಂ ಕಾಬೆ ಕಾನೂನು ದಿವೆ ರೈತುನ ಲಿಬಿಗೆಂವಾ ಹಗ್ಗಾದಿ ಎವ್ವೊಳುಮುಗೆ ಮಿನಿಮಂ ಕಾಬೆ ಕಾನೂನು ಲಿಬಿದೆ ಇಖ್ತಿಯಾರತ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಫುರಿಹಮ ಸಿಫೇಗ ದಿನುಮಟ್ಟಕ ಫುಲುಹು ಮಿಹಾರ್ವೆಸ್ ಬೈ ಕಂಕಂ ಅಮ ತಂಫೀಸ್ ಕುರಮುಂಗೆ ಬಣ್ಣ ಮಿಸಾಲಕ ಅಳುನ್ಮೆಂ ಇಂಟರ್ವ್ಯೂ ನುಕುರ ಹಾಲೆತ್ತಕಿಂಗೆ ಬಾದೆ ಮಿವಗುತುವೆಸ್ ಎವ್ವೊಳುಮುಗೆ ಕಂಕಮುಗಾಮ ಪರಬೊಡ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಕುರವಿಗಿಂ ಹಿಂಗಮುಂದಾ ಕಂತತ್ತಿಗೆ ದೂದೆವಿಗಿಂ ಹಿಂಗಮುಂದಾ ಕಂತತ್ತಿಕಿಂಗೆ ಬಾದೆ एह नमवेस दिव्य राज्य के कुल्ली नुरक्कलुगे मि हालतुग और मेन मिवगुत लीफवा ಮಾಲೂಮಾತಕ ಅಲ್ಮೆಂಗೆ ಪೊಲೀಸ್ಗೆ ಇಂಟೆಲಿಜೆನ್ಸ್ ಲಿಫಾ ಮಾಲೂಮಾತಕ ಬಲಾಲ ಇರುಗ ಗಾವನಸಾಸಿಗೆ ಎತ್ತಿರಿಸೋನ ಮಾದ್ದ ಹಳಕ್ತಾ ಕುರುಮುಗೆ ಹಾಗ್ವಾದಿ ಗಾವನಸಾಸಿಗೆ ಬತ್ತಿರಿಸೋನ ಮಾದ್ದ ಎವ್ವೊಳುಮುಗೆ ಮಿನಿವಂಕಮ ಬೇ ಎವ್ವೊಳುಗೆ ಮಿನಿವಂಕ ಮಿದ ಮಾದ್ದ ಸಸ್ಪೆಂಡ್ ಕುರೆಫಾ ದಡಿವಳೆಗೆ ನೋತ ವಗುತೆಕ್ಕ ಮಿಹಾರ್ ಅಲ್ಮೆನ ಮಿಲಿಫಾ ಮಾಲೂಮಾತಗ ಅಲೀಗ ಅಲ್ಮೆನ ಮಿಫುರ್ಸತು ಮಾದಮ දෙවෙ නොන්නන මාහක දන්නවාලා ඒක තුරන් ෆාහ කොල්ලම් බේණු මාලයා රාජ්‍යයේ සරහතක මීහුන් එව්වෙ හමනුජුන් හින්ගා සදාමති ಭಾರತක කුරුමත්ලා ගවම හදබලුක්කො බයකු මිකන් රාවා මිකන් කමුග ಹಾಸಕಂ ಇಸ್ವೆ ಒಳುವ ಫರಾತಕಂ ಮಿಕಂ ಕಮಗ ಮೀಹುಂ ಬ್ಯಾರಿಯುಮ ತಫಾತ್ ಏಕಿ ಗಗ್ಗೊತ ಮಿಕಮಗ ಮೀಹುಂ ಬ್ಯಾರ ಕುರುಮ ಏಕಿ ಕಹಲ ಮಸಕೆತ ಕುರಾ ಕಂಕಮ ಸಲ್ಮೆನ ಫಾಹಕು ಕುರವೆ ಮಿಗಿನ ಮೀಹುಂ ಮಿಕಂ ಕಮಗ ಬ್ಯಾರ ಕುರುಮ ತಫಾತ್ ಏಕಿ ಗಗ್ಗೊತ ಮೀಹುಂ ಮಿಕಮಗ ಬ್ಯಾರ ಕುರುಮ ತಫಾತ್ ಮೀಹುಂ ಮೀಗೆ ತೆರೆ ವೆದ್ದುಮ ಕುರುಮಂದ ಬ್ಯಾರ ಮಸಕೆತೆ ಕುರುಮಂದ ಕನ್ಸ್ ಫಾಹ ಕುರಂ ಅದಿ ಮಿಕಮಂ ಇಜಾಬ ನುದಿನುಮ ಫುಲುಹುಂ ರೈತುನ ಇಲ್ತಿಮಾಸ್ ಕುರ ಅದಿ ಗಾವಣ ಗಾಯತಕ ಹಿಲಾಫಂ ಅವಲ್ ಕುರುಮ ಫುರ್ಸತ್ ಎವ್ವೆಸ್ ಫರಾತಕ ಫುಲುಹುಂ ನುದೇನ ಮಾಹಕೆಸ್ ದನ್ನವ ಅದಿ ಗಾವಣ ಗಾಯತಕ ಹಿಲಾಫಂ ಎವ್ವೆ ಹಮಣಿ ಜೋಂ ಹಿಂಗಾ ಎಕಂಕನ್ ರಾವ ಎಕಂಕಮ ಬೆಹೆಗೊತುಂ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಗೇಟ್ ಕೊನ್ ನೋತ ಎಕಂಕಂ ಕುರಿಯಕ್ ಗೆಂಗೊಸ್ ಮೀಹುಂ ಎಕಂಕೋಗ ಬ್ಯಾರು ಕುರುಮ ಮಸೆ ಕುರ ಫರಾತಕ ದೇತೆರೆಗೆಸ್ ಫುಲುಹುಂ ಗಾನುನಿ ಗೊತುಂ ಅಳಂಜೆ ಹರುಕಶಿ ಫಿಯೋಳ ಅಲಾನ ಮಾಹಕ ದನ್ನವ ಅವಳ್ಮೆನ್ನ ಫಾಹ ಕುರೆಗೆಂದಿಯ ಕಂತತ್ತೋಗೆ ತೆರೆಗ ಅವಳ್ಮೆನ್ ಕುರಿಂಗ್ ಲೇಫಾ ಮಾಲೂಮಾತ್ ಹಿಸ್ಸಾ ಕುರಮುಂ ಐ ಎಗೊತುಂ ಅವಳ್ಮೆನ್ನ ಫಾಹ ಕುರವನು ರೇವೆಸ್ before bෑವರ ಸೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸ್ ನೋತ ಏಕಿ ಕಾಲ ಇವೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಸೀರೀಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಇವೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಹಿಂಗ ಮುಂದಿಯ ಕಳ್ಮೆ ಫಾಹ ಕೊಲ್ಲ ಕುರಿಂಗ ಸೊಳ್ಮೆ ಹಿಸ್ಸಾ ಕುರಿಂಗ್ ಅಡ್ಡೂಗ ಹಿಂಗಾದಿಯ ಕಮೆಗ ಗೇರ್ ರೋಕೊಲ್ಲ ಅದೇ ತನೆಗ ರೋ ಕುರುಮಗ ಸಬಬು ವರಬೊಡತಿ ಗೆಲ್ಲುನ್ ತಕ್ಕೆ ಲಿಬುಣು ಮಿ ಕಮುಗ ಅವಳ್ಮೆ ವಾಣೆ ಮಿ ಮಸಾಲಾಗ ತಹುಗೀಗ ಹಮೀಹೆಕು ಹಯ್ಯರಕೋ ಅಡ್ಡೂಗ ಮಿ ಮಸಾಲಾಗ ತಹುಗಿ ಕುರಿಂಗೆ ಬದೆ ಹಾಸಕೋ ಅವಳು ಫಾಹ ಕೊಲ್ಲ ರೇಗ ಫತಿಹುಗ ವಗುತೆಗ್ಗವೆ ಸ್ಟೆಲ್ಕೋಗೆ ಇಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟೇಷನ್ಗೆ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಫೊಟ್ಟೆಗ್ಗ ರೋಕೊಲ್ಲ ಹವಾ ಕಳ್ಮೆ ಫಾಹ ಕುರಂ මේ මස්සලාගේ තහුගේක දෙමීහක හයිජර් කුරේගෙන් ඒ මස්සලෙස් තහුගේ කුරමුන් දාවාහක දන්නවා එහෙන් කමු අල්මෙන්ගේ ඉන්ටෙලිජන්ස් මාලුමාත් තක අල්මෙන් ලිෆෝර් බයි මාලුමාත් ගුළුවාලුම අල්මෙන් ෆාහගේ කුරවේ මාලයා රාජ්‍යයේ නො තතොල තෙරේක බයි සරහවතන් හදබුදු කුරුමට්ටක ගස්තුග බයකු මිෆත කන්තත්තකෙන් අන්නනි කුරමු අල්මෙන්ගේ මි ෆෙනුණු කන්තත්තක මිකංක යගින් කුරවෙන් අල්මෙන් එබෝර් එකත ಅವಳು ಫಾಹ ಕೊಲ್ಲಂ ಗೌಮಗೆ ಸುಲ್ಹ ಮಸಲಸ್ಕ ನಗಾಲ ಗೌಮ ಹಲಬಲಿಕು ಹಮಣಿ ಜೋಮ ಹಿವ್ವರ ದಿವೇಗೊತಂ ಏಕೆ ಫರಾತಕಂ ಕುರಮಂದ ಮಸೆಕ್ಕೆತ್ತ ಅವಳು ಮೆಂ ಅದಿವೆಸ್ ಎಫ್ಫಾರಮ ಬಂಗೆಗೊತಂ ವಗುತಂ ಹುಟ್ಟಾಲು ಮಗ ಇಲ್ತಿಮಾಸ್ ಕುರ ಅದಿ ಗೌಮ ಗಮಂ ಅಮಾಂಕ ನಗಾಲ ರೈತುಂಗೆ ಹಿತುಗ ಬಿರೇರಕಂ ಉಫತ್ತು ಗೊತಂ ಕುರಮಂದ ಕಂಕಮಕಿ ಎವ್ವೆಸ್ ಸಾಲೆಗ್ಗ ಫುಲುಹುಂ ಬಲಯ ಗನ್ನಾನ ಕಮೆ ನೂಂಕಮುಗೆ ಸೌಲ್ ಮೆಂ ದನ್ನವ ಮಿಹಿಸಾ ಕುರನು ಕಂತತ್ತಕ ಫುಲುಹುನ ಲಿಬಿಫಾ ಇಂಟೆಲಿಜೆನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಲೂಮಾತ ರಿಯಾಕೊ ಮಾದಮಾಗೆ ಮಿ ಹರಕಾತಕಿ ಸುಲ್ಹವೆರಿ ಹರಕಾತೆ ನೋತ ಸುಲ್ಹವೆರಿ ಎವ್ವುಮೆಕ್ಕಮ ಅಳ್ಮೆನ್ನ ಬಲ ಗಣಿವೇನೆ ಜಾಗ ನೆವ್ವಾಹ ಕಳ್ಮೆನ್ ದಣ್ಣಮ ಅದಿ ಮಿ ಎವ್ವುಮಗೆ ಎವ್ವಿಸ್ ಫರಾತಕಂ ಬ್ಯಾವೆರಿ ನೂಮಂ ಅಳ್ಮೆನ್ ಇಲ್ತಿಮಾಸ್ ಕುರ ಗೌಮ ಗಮಂಕಮ ಸುಲ್ಹ ಮಸಲಸ್ಕಂ ಗಾಯಂಕೊ ಗಾನುನಿ ಗೊತುಂ ಫುಲುಹುನ್ನ ಹವಾ ಕುರೆಫಾವ ಜಿಮ್ಮಾತಕ ಮಸೂಲಿಯತ ಅದಾ ಕುರ್ಮಗ ಸಾಬಿತ್ ಕಮಾಕ ದಿವಿಹಿ ಫುಲುಹುಂ ಫಸ್ ನುಜೆಹಿ ದೆಮಿತಿ ವೇನಕಮಗ ಫುರಿಹಮ ಯಗಿಂಕಂ ದಿವಿಹಿ ರೈತುನ್ನ ಅರುವ ದಿವಿಹಿ ಫುಲುಹುಂ ಗಬುದಸ್ ದುವಾಯಕಿ ದಿವಿಹಿ ಗೌಮ್ ಮಿನಿಮಂ ಕಮ್ಮತಿ ಮಾ ಅಲ್ಲಾಹ್ ತನವಸ್ ರಹಮತಾಕ ತಾಬದ ಲೆವ್ವುಂ ಆಮೀನ್ ಮಿ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಷನ್ ವಡೈನ್ ಕೋಟಕ ಮೀಡಿಯಾ ತೋಗ ಫರಾತಕ ಅವಳ್ಮೆ ಫುಲ್ಹೋಂಗೆ ನಮಗ ಹಸಕೋಳನ್ ಹುರಿಯಾ ಫುಲ್ಹೋಂಗೆ ನಮಗ ಹುರಿಯಾ ಫರಾತಕ ಶುಕ್ರ ದನ್ನವ ಹುರಿಯಾ ಬೇ ಫುಲ್ನ ವೆಸ್ ವರ ಬಾಜರ್ ದುವಾ ಕಂಗೆ ವರ ಬಡ ಶುಕ್ರಿಯಾ
Welcome back. Moving on with news. President Abdullah Yamin Abdul Gayoom launches the National Strategic Plan to end tuberculosis in Maldives.
Tuberculosis is a disease caused by a bacteria called Mycobacterium tuberculosis. The bacteria usually attack the lungs, but they can also damage other parts of the body. Tuberculosis spreads through the air when a person with the bacteria coughs, sneezes or talks. In the past 3 years, Maldives has succeeded in eliminating communicable diseases. In the efforts to eliminate tuberculosis in Maldives, President Yamin today launched the National Strategic Plan to end tuberculosis in Maldives at a ceremony held at Hotel Jen. Addressing the function, a resident representative of the World Health Organization to Maldives, Dr. Arvind Mathur, congratulated President Yamin for becoming the first head of state in the Southeast Asia region to launch a national strategic plan to end.
It's my great honor witness this momentous occasion and on behalf of Regional Director Dr. Poonam Khetrapal Singh of WHO and on my own, take this opportunity to congratulate His Excellency President Abdullah Yameen Abdul Gayoom for being the first head of the state in the Southeast Asia region to launch a national strategic plan for eliminating tuberculosis since the health ministers of the Southeast Asia region signed and launched Delhi Call for Action in March 2017.
Dr. Arvind Mathur lauded the deep interest and unwavering support of President Yameen towards provoking interests of the people for public health issues.
Your presence is an indication of your deep interest and unwavering commitment towards provoking people's interest for such public health issues and is a testimony to yours and your government's deep commitment to rid the Maldives of tuberculosis, which otherwise is still a major killer globally and in the Southeast Asia region.
Moreover, the resident representative noted that Maldives is an example of universal health coverage in its true sense and action.
Maldives is a shining example of universal health coverage in its true sense and in action, with highest GDP expenditure on health in the region of more than 9%. Your Excellency, investing in TB is a great value for money, as for every US dollar spent, there is $43 in return. Given such high return, it would be prudent for me to advocate for higher allocation to make tuberculosis elimination a reality in the Maldives.
On conclusion, Arvind Mathur applauded the leadership of Minister of Health Abdullah Nazim Ibrahim for the continued contribution in mobilizing and partnering with institutions in health-related programs. Speaking at the function, the Health Minister said the milestone is achievable and has been proven within the past few years with the successful elimination of diseases such as malaria and measles. According to statistics, more than 10 million people were diagnosed with tuberculosis in 2016 worldwide. The government of Maldives aims to become the first country in the Southeast Asia region to eliminate tuberculosis.
President Abdullah Yameen Abdul Gayoom underscores that it is his constitutional duty to uphold the rule of law as the president. At the function held by Progressive Party of the president was the most vulnerable position, as the constitution states how the incumbent president could be removed from office. The president pointed out that bringing about a coup was a crime and spoke on the importance of letting a legitimate administration complete its term for the stability and harmony of society. Furthermore, the president affirmed that individuals who fled Maldives disregarding the constitution do not have the right to protest any claim to protect the constitution. Highlighting the Supreme Court of Maldives is entrusted by the constitution with the obligation to guard it, the president cited the recent rulings of the Supreme Court were carried out to undermine the constitutional rights. President Yameen assured the administration will always solve issues with respect to the constitution, reiterating his firm commitment to ensure peace in the country. Maldives extends condolences to the government and the people of the United States following the deadly shooting at a high school in Parkland, Florida, killing young children and causing injury to many. The Maldivian government noted that it received the news of the shooting with deep shock. Minister of Foreign Affairs Dr. Muhammad Asim sent a message of condolence to the government and the people of the United States, including the families of the victims. According to authorities, a 19-year-old gunman opened fire at a Florida high school he had previously been expelled from, killing 17 people before he was arrested by police. Broward County Sheriff Scott Israel revealed that 12 of the dead were killed inside the school building, 2 others just outside, 1 more on the street, and 2 other victims died of their injuries at a hospital. As a special envoy of President Abdullah Yameen Abdul Gayoom, Minister of Housing and Infrastructure Dr. Muhammad Muizz meets the detainees arrested for their alleged role and involvement in a coup attempt, bribing parliamentarians, judges, and influencing judicial rulings. In this regard, Housing Minister Muizz met with former President Ma'mun Abdul Gayoom, Chief Justice Abdullah Saeed, and Supreme Court Judge Ali Hamid. In a Twitter post, Minister Muizzu revealed that he inquired about the health of the detainees and the conditions of their confinements during the visit. The visit of the minister came at a time the opposition claimed the detainees were being ill-treated, with legal rights withheld by the government. A total of 13 individuals are arrested and in detention in relation to the ongoing investigation. Deputy Permanent Representative to Maldives Mission in Geneva, Jeffrey Salim Wahid, says the government should proceed with the current momentum to make sure corruption is nullified in all areas of the nation. Speaking on Maldives Today TV program aired on PSM News, Salim Wahid said a dialogue is the only passage through which Maldives can resolve the current political situation.
Speaking on the efforts of the government to curb corruption in Maldives, Deputy Permanent Representative to Maldives Mission in Geneva, Salim Wahid, noted that corruption cases have been identified from most institutions in the country. The Deputy Permanent Representative said deep-rooted corruption cases have been identified in connection with the attempted coup, including bribery cases which involve a former president and the highest court of the judicial sector. In addition, Salim Wahid called on the government to proceed with the current momentum to make sure corruption is nullified in all areas of the nation.
What we have to do is make sure that going forward, we use this momentum to make sure that no one can continue with these corrupt acts again. We need to make sure that there is transparency, that the independent institutions that we have continue to do their jobs, continue to expose places where corruption exists. There is no excuse for corruption on any level, in any place in government.
Shedding light on the importance of dialogue when a country is in a political unrest, the Deputy Permanent Representative noted that Maldivian politics is de-escalate the situation. Salim Wahid cited that all previous attempts of the government to conduct party talks failed due to lack of cooperation from the opposition. He said the current political situation is creating irreversible damages to the country.
The politics of Maldives is the politics of personalities. It depends on the will of our political leaders. If they're willing to come and sit down, if they're willing to talk without preconditions, if there is no dialogue, how are things ever going to get better? You know, the way in which we exist, the way in which political parties exist, is on opposite sides, opposite poles of the political spectrum. And unless people are willing to talk, then we're not going to move forward at all.
Refuting rumors about rifts created among security forces, the Deputy Permanent Representative assured the security forces are dedicated to the country and will honor the oaths they have taken. Salim Wahid said the opposition is always scheming to convince supporters that there is something wrong in the country or the administration, as they assume such acts would keep their prominence in the society. He concluded by emphasizing that all Maldivians must prioritize nationalism over individual political views for the benefit of the country.
Chief Executive Officer of Treetop Hospital Grant Model reveals the world-class healthcare facility is all set to be inaugurated by the end of this month. With its inauguration, Treetop Hospital would mark history by becoming the first multi-specialist healthcare facility in the Maldives.
The development of the health sector is one of the prime focuses of the administration, and under the objective, the development of a tertiary-level hospital in Hulumale was an electoral pledge of President Abdullah Yamin Abdul Gayoom. One of the major aims of developing a tertiary-level hospital in Hulumale is to decrease the number of Maldivians traveling abroad for medical treatment. Turkey-based Alcatermax was contracted to design and develop the tertiary-level hospital in Hulumale, with Ramsesim Darby of Malaysia contracted to manage the hospital. The 6-story Treetop Hospital was developed along with an 8-story support building, which would have a staff accommodation block. Briefing the media after touring the hospital, Minister of Health Abdullah Nazim Ibrahim revealed that all legal documentations to begin the function of the hospital have now been completed. Minister Nazim cited that work permits have been provided for doctors hired by the hospital. Continuing on, the Maldivian Health Minister said discussions have been conducted to begin ASAN the healthcare insurance services at the hospital. Meanwhile, Chief Executive Officer of Treetop Hospital, Grant Muddle, said the world-class healthcare facility is all set to be inaugurated by the end of this month.
We are very close to opening. We're very excited to be opening soon for a number of reasons. We're very excited about adding to the healthcare services in the country of the Maldives. We've been discussing for a long time how to partner with the public health system and other private healthcare providers in the country and how we're going to be able to work in partnership to improve healthcare outcomes for the people of the Maldives and visitors to the Maldives. We are to open very soon and we look forward to welcoming the first guest and patient in the coming weeks ahead.
Treetop Hospital would provide over 700 job opportunities, mainly targeted for Maldivians, with 275 employees already recruited. The hospital, which was developed at a cost of $80 million, is the largest investment by a private company in the healthcare sector and is expected to provide the best medical services in the Maldives.
Maldives Customs Service reveals the value of exports and imports increased by 6% and 17% respectively in January 2018 compared to the same month of last year. According to statistics, goods worth more than $245.9 million were imported during January 2018, whereas the figure was recorded at $207 million in January 2017. According to the statistics, 20% of the goods were imported from UAE, which is the top important country. Furthermore, statistics reveal that the goods exported during January 2018 were recorded at $30.7 million, which is an increase of 6% compared to the same month in 2017. According to major exporting countries, Thailand was recorded as highest with 41% of the total exports in January 2017. The total revenue collected through customs duty and other fees and fines in January 2018 showed an increase of 23% compared to January of last year. A total of $17.9 million were collected through import duty and fees last month. China says U.S. President Donald Trump's weighing of possible options to address steel and aluminium imports with tariffs and quotas would damage global trade.
On Tuesday, U.S. President Donald Trump said that he was considering a range of options to address steel and aluminium imports that he said was unfairly hurting U.S. producers. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Gang Shuang said the world economy was recovering and all parties should cherish the momentum and send signals of cooperation and mutual benefit. Trump is weighing options presented last month by the U.S. Commerce Department in parallel Section 232 investigations into whether import restrictions on steel and aluminium are needed to protect national security. The probes were authorized under the 1962 trade law that has not been invoked since 2001. Steelmakers recently urged Trump to take bold action to reduce steel imports to curb global excess steel production capacity, largely in China. A Chinese government think tank warned earlier that unreasonable U.S. trade actions on steel will be met with countermeasures under the World Trade Organization rules.
International charity Save the Children says more children than ever before are living in conflict areas and are at risk of death and violence, with Syria, Afghanistan and Somalia the worst countries for young people.
In a report, the global charity Save the Children said at least 357 million children, or 1 in 6 worldwide, were living in conflict zones, which is an increase of 75% since the early 1990s. According to Save the Children, increased urbanization, longer-running conflicts, and a rise in the number of schools and hospitals being targeted heighten the danger for the children. Other threats include abduction and sexual violence. Chief Executive of Save the Children, Hallie Thorning, said in a statement that the charity are seeing a shocking increase in the number of children growing up in areas affected by conflict and being exposed to the most serious forms of violence imaginable. The former Prime Minister of Denmark said children are suffering things no child ever should, from sexual violence to being used as suicide bombers. According to the report, United Nations figures show more than 73,000 children have been killed or maimed in 25 conflicts since 2005, the year it started collecting such statistics. Since 2010, the number of United Nations verified cases of children being killed and maimed has gone up by almost 300%. Aid agencies say the figure is likely to be far higher given the difficulties of verifying accounts in conflict zones. Save the Children said that the worsening situation for children in conflict zones was due to increased fighting in towns and cities and the growing use of bombs in densely populated areas. According to the charity, children are being targeted with more brutal tactics, such as deployment of youth as suicide bombers and widespread use of weapons such as barrel bombs. It said those in Middle East are most likely to be living in conflict zone, which are the 2/5 of the children in the region, followed by Africa, with 20% living in war-torn areas.
Obviously, one of the biggest ongoing conflicts is Syria, and Syria in and of itself as a conflict has contributed dramatically to the evidence that proves that children are really much more vulnerable in conflict than in any other time in the past 20 years. So if you look at the situation in Syria going into its 7th year, we see some new lows in terms of the aggression and the targeting of children in conflict, including the bombing of hospitals and schools, the use of chemical weapons, and the denial of humanitarian access.
Head of emergency programs at UNICEF, which is the United Nations Children's Agency, said children in conflict zones around the world are coming under attack at a shocking scale, with parties to conflicts blatantly disregarding international laws.
According to a deal signed, the United States will provide Jordan with more than $6 billion in aid during the period from 2018 to 2022.
According to the Memorandum of Understanding, which was signed by U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson and Jordanian Foreign Minister Ayman Safadi, Jordan will get $1.275 billion in economic and military aids annually. U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson said the new grant represents an increase of $275 million over the previous deal. Tillerson noted the deal highlights the pivotal role Jordan plays in helping foster and safeguard regional stability while supporting U.S. global efforts to defeat the IS militants and boost economic development.
Under this agreement, the United States commits to provide Jordan no less than $1.275 billion per year in bilateral foreign assistance. This MOU is a signal to the rest of the world that the U.S.-Jordan partnership has never been stronger. We'll support Jordan's important role in addressing regional conflict and instability, including the impact that the crisis in Syria has had on Jordan. We thank the government and the people of Jordan for receiving so many of those displaced by the conflict in Syria. We're dedicated to finding a way forward in Syria that will allow for the safe and voluntary return of these displaced people when conditions allow.
Jordanian Foreign Minister Ayman Safadi said the memorandum, which outlines areas of critical cooperation in the economic and defense sectors, will support Jordan's political and economic reforms while mitigating the impact Syrian and Iraqi refugees have on Jordanian communities. Safadi said the deal is the third between the two countries and the first under the administration of U.S. President Donald Trump. Meanwhile, Jordan has committed to taking economic and security reforms to support Jordanian self-reliance under the deal. Since the beginning of the Syrian crisis, the United States has provided nearly $1.1 billion in humanitarian assistance to support Syrian refugees in Jordan. Jordan has accommodated refugees from 41 countries, 2.2 million from Palestine, 1.3 million from Syria, and hundreds of thousands from Iraq.
Iraq receives pledges of $30 billion mostly in credit facilities and investment from allies, but this fell short of the $88 billion Baghdad says it needs to recover from 3 years of war.
Amir Sheikh Sabah Al-Ahmad Al-Jaber Al-Sabah said at the gathering that Kuwait, the host of the Kuwait International Conference for the Reconstruction of Iraq, promised to provide $1 billion in loans through its Kuwait Fund for Arabic Economic Development and committed another $1 billion as investments. Iraqi Foreign Minister Ibrahim Al-Jafri told media at the news conference that the pledges made at an international aid conference to rebuild his country were less than what Iraq requires. Donors and investors gathered in Kuwait City to mull ways to rebuild country's economy and infrastructure as it emerges from erroneous conflicts with IS militants who seized almost a third of the country before being beaten back. The three-day meeting brought together several economic powers as well as regional and international organizations will touch upon needed contribution to rebuilding Iraq after many years of war and conflict ripped through various parts of the country. According to Iraqi officials, damage to the infrastructure alone caused an estimated loss of $50 billion.
Paris Saint-Germain spent €400 million on Neymar and Kylian Mbappe last year, but it was Real Madrid's bargain signing Marco Asensio who stole the show when Real beat the Parisians 3-1 in Showcase Champions League last 16 first leg.
Spanish winger Marco Asensio cost Real a mere €3.5 million from Mallorca in 2014 and entered the game only in the 79th minute but played a decisive role alongside Cristiano Ronaldo and Marcelo, each scoring late on to give the European champions the edge in the tie. Coach Zainuddin Zidane congratulated his squad for the good result but said his team have to be focused and ready for the upcoming second leg. PSG suffered a humiliating elimination from the tournament by Barcelona last season after losing the second leg of their tie 6-1. The signing of Neymar from Barca for the world record €222 million looks like a statement of the intent to make their mark on this season's competition. The Brazilian has scored 28 times for PSG but was less effective in their biggest game so far and picked up an early yellow card for the fallen Real defender Nacho Fernandez. Mbappe will cost Qatari backed club €180 million when his loan deal from AS Monaco expires in June. He forced the opening goal scored by the Adrien Rabiot. PSG coach said his side has been unfortunate and criticized referee for awarding Real a penalty. PSG President Sheikh Nasser Al-Khalifi also criticized the decision made by the referee and asked UEFA to take measures.
I'm not going to repeat every time, last year we had the same with Barcelona, this year against Real Madrid, they need to stop now, Okay, we are not Real Madrid, but, they need really to stop. 2 yellow cards is not yellow card, offside of Mbappe is not offside, come on, I'm not saying that we lost because of the referee, to be very clear, but this small details, it helped big team like Real Madrid, they feel that the referee is with them, and our players, they've been blocked, they're scared to have yellow card because he was like waiting the opportunity to give yellow card, red card, that's what he want to do, and this is really not good for the football European, and UEFA need to do something.
And that's all we have for you right now. Thank you for watching. Have a very pleasant day.